Hey friends, it's Bob over at Danbury Senior Living here with the Memory Channel. We're going to get started today and talk about healthy living and how that affects your brain muscles. When we started the channel, we talked about how the brain muscle is a lot like the rest of our muscles in that we need to exercise it every day. Remember, I asked, when you go to the doctor, does the doctor ask you if you've been exercising lately? They want to know how you're doing with this muscle, your heart, and how you're doing with your physical muscles, for your core, for your stability, things like that. How often do they ask you about this muscle, that big gooey muscle right between your ears? We need to exercise that every day, whether that be with Sudoku puzzles, crossword puzzles, or just remembering names. We need to get the cobwebs out and get that thing moving. So to get started with today's talk, it's about getting started on your brain fitness exercise program. You want to do a little something every day, but as with a physical exercise program, you want to be ready. We can't just go out and run a marathon, and we can't just sit down on the bench press and start pushing up 500 pounds. That would be pretty impossible. So we need to be ready. And what are some things that we can do to be ready? Well, as we know, when you exercise your body, you need to eat right. You need to sleep right. You need to drink plenty of water. Do you think those things affect our brains as well? Let me ask you this. If you sit around eating Cheetos and drinking Mountain Dew all day long, how do you think your brain will be functioning? Think it'll be functioning fairly clear? No, I don't think so. I have teenagers who can attest to that. But if you drink water and eat brain healthy foods, and we've been hearing a lot about these lists the past 5 or 10 years, how do you think your brain will be functioning on those days? How does your brain function on days that you don't get much sleep? I know my brain is foggy until noon. My brain can't function. I can't think of a thing. It's just a struggle to get up and moving. But on a night that I get a full 8 hours of sleep, and it's a sound sleep, a deep sleep, the REM sleep, my brain wakes up refreshed and ready to go. So we know that if our body is suffering decline, our brain will suffer a decline. It kind of goes hand in hand many times, because if we're not eating right, we're not nourishing our bodies, our brain starts to kind of go south as well, just like our physical body does. They're connected, you know. This big muscle up here needs just as good a nourishment as the rest of your body. One of the things I always like to talk about when I'm talking about brain health are things like depression and grief and sadness. Those affect us way more than you know, and way more than a lot of us let on. This is the year 2020, and it has been a wild one. And going into the next few years, we have many advances in medicine. So if you think you're depressed, talk to your doctor about it. Those who live on the sunny side of the street, we know those cheery people who live on the sunny side of the street always seem to be sharper than a tack. A positive outlook does affect our bodies and our brains. There was recently a study done over at Kent State University where they studied the effects of probiotics, acidophilus, on our gut. If our gut is healthy, will our brain be healthy? And what they found was not only is if our gut is healthy, will our brain be healthy, our mood is healthy too. It's very important. They're all interconnected, as we know. And lastly, for today, any kind of detrimental things that we do to our bodies, smoking, drinking in excess, recreational drugs, things like that, we really need to keep those in check. Just like if you're going to start a physical exercise program, if you're going to start jogging and your goal was to run a 5K, you wouldn't be smoking or drinking heavily or doing things that are bad for your body. We need to check with our doctors to make sure our medications are in line with what it is we want to do, and then go for it. But we really want to cut back on, maybe if you have a cigar once a week, let's cut back on those things so we can get the brain focused and clear and ready to go. Okay? So stay tuned on this channel, hit the subscribe button below, and you'll get notifications when we post a new one. But that's kind of the groundwork of where we want to start. You want to be more healthy to get that brain functioning correctly. The next tip you're going to love. We're going to talk about joining clubs and organizations and how that can keep your brain healthy. Thanks. Talk to you soon.